So the great Bertrand Galen has just come into the studio with his cello, and great instrument maker. Welcome to the show, Bertrand. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And also hello, Peter, by the way.
Hello, Sheena.
I'm going to have a chat with you, Bertrand, about everything to do with your business in instrument making and also as a player. But can you tell me about when you grew up? You're from where in France exactly?
I'm from Metz. It's near the Luxembourg.
Oh, right.
And Germany.
Yeah. And when you were growing up, were you surrounded by music and you inevitably went on to become a player? And your family, was there much music?
Yes, my parents, they met in the choir, and they're quite good musicians.
Yeah.
They love singing, they love music, yeah.
And did you study in like the equivalent of the School of Music where you're from?
Yeah.
When you were there?
I think I started in a little choir when I was a kid. And then I started to learn music theory and all that, and I eventually started cello.
Yeah. Was it always going to be the cello? Is that you choose the cello yourself, or?
Not really. I was like really interested and really attracted by like low register instruments.
Yeah.
I remember being really excited by like big saxophones and stuff like that. But obviously my dad, who was playing cello, had another idea.
Yeah. I love the cello. It's my favourite instrument, definitely. So you went on, then you studied in a French luthiers college, I presume, or did you?
There's a national school, in France. There's only one, and that appear to be close by to where I'm from. So but there was people of my age coming from all over the country. Well, it was still a school at the time that I was starting where you were about 14, 15-year-old.
All right.
So,
where is it? Where are you from again? How do you say it?
Metz, M-E-T-Z.
Oh, Metz. Oh, yeah. Very good. Okay, and that's where the national.
The school is in Mirecourt, which is in the Vosges, in the. It's just below, like 100 kilometers below. So it's basically based where most of the production of a manufactured instrument were in the 19th and early 20th century.
Yeah, like Villaume and all those great makers.
The great bow makers are nearly all from the same little village. It's nearly a village, like it's about 8,000 people altogether.
That's fantastic.
And then most of the violins that were mass produced at the time are from there, and there's a big tradition of violin makers as well. Yeah.
So tell me, what attracted you to Ireland? How come you ended up here?
Well, Ireland is a bit indirect choice, but like I was in Paris, like working for a while, and then I got the idea that it was time to move on and go somewhere abroad.
Yeah.
So I was still very vague, and then this friend Jeremy,
Jeremy Legrand,
who was just a couple of years behind me in the school, just was there. For him, it was because of the trad music. Basically, he's a fiddle player, and he really loved the Irish trad. As a cello player, I don't really play trad much. Well, I was playing kind of made-up trad in France, but
I haven't heard too much trad now played on the cello. Right?
Yeah. Well, it's hard to play those tunes on a fiddle, but on a cello it's a lot harder. So, and I was having my jazz-minded ideas that didn't really suit the liking of trad players.
So how long have you been in Ireland now?
That's going to be 15 years in January.
So do you love it here?
Yes.
Yes, good.
Apart from the weather.
Yeah.
His fingers are cold still.
Yeah.
Still cold from this summer.
I know, it's unusual.
One of the best days of the year for us.
Yes.
As you know, I campaign a lot for buying local and promoting local artists and musicians and craftsmen, and you hear me going on about it a lot. I feel like a broken record. I remember last year
broken, no.
you had 2 pieces in our exhibition, a viola and a violin.
Yes.
Very fine pieces indeed. And I know Michael Cummins is always endorsing your fine instrument making, you know.
Yeah.
But you're a craftsman in the middle of Mailer Street, kind of against the big force of production in China. Would you see that they're competitors to you, or does it interfere with your side of things at all?
Not really, because it's kind of a link between what I'm doing, which is more like professional instruments.
Yeah.
And the starter instruments that used to be manufactured in Europe, but it's not like profitable.
So you're in a different level, yeah.
So it's the kind of instrument I don't do cheap instrument.
Yeah.
I'm only expensive.
That's good. And you would you agree? I always say that there's so much energy from the maker going into the instrument, and then when the player is playing it, the energy from the player, the two together just produce something fantastic altogether. But that you can't really beat a handmade instrument, no matter how good the Chinese produce and reproduce whatever they're doing and copying. I still think there's a savage difference in the individual maker making the instrument.
Well, there's also a whole service.
Yeah, exactly, goes with it.
Years after it.
And there's a relationship between you and the player, which is great.
It's very important, like the whole long-term relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't exist when you just do a retailing.
Purchase online or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's interesting though that you say that there's a link there too, because you have to start somewhere. So you're not going to go out and buy the most expensive instrument before when you start. So and if you buy this instrument, then at least it gives somebody the lead on
step up
to professional instrument. So there is a link there no matter what.
Yeah, you can
There's
eventually
definitely a need. So since I'm not providing that type of range, I think it's not a bad thing that it comes from somebody else.
Yeah.
And that makes as many musicians that might be happy to stay with their Chinese instrument all their life, but still enjoying music, or going further and then look for something better.
Yeah. I wouldn't have even thought of that before myself, as you said it there, but it's an interesting point. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
They can aspire to a Bertrand Galen eventually, like.
But I thought of that a while. Like at the start, I was really not comfortable with the idea of Chinese. But if over there they are paid decently for doing their job, I don't see a problem.
Yeah, if they are paid decently.
If the wood doesn't come from Nepal or from what I heard, like I'm alright with it, basically.
Yeah. I was in one of the factories in China, and I wouldn't be alright with it in a million years, and it's very unfortunate. It's awful, really.
Well, there's loads of different manufacturers, so there's also a whole range of instruments, from the cheapest to the nearly really impressive. Like there's like a violin maker, like a full-time individual making full instrument like me and everybody in Europe. So there's the whole range as well over there.
Yeah.
But to be able to do that, to work in Mailer Street, right in the very, very centre of Cork City,
it's fantastic.
Make instruments, and that's just such a brilliant thing to be able to do.
You did a bow making course too, didn't you?
I learned bow making, but in parallel, more as a hobby, more as an interest. I don't really what I do about I look after bows, but I don't really pretend to do the whole extent of repairs that a bow maker does. And if I made few bows, it's for my own interest and to learn and understand better the whole concept, because it's really part of the kind of 3 point of music is like the musician, the instrument, and the bow. They're really all interdependent. So you want to understand a bit the musician, so that's also a good thing to play for that, and then you want to understand what the bows brings to the whole balance.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you got it anyway. So, will you play a tune for us now?
Okay, I'm going.
If you're warmed up, fingers warmed up.
Play the first prelude of the first suite of Bach that everybody knows.
Excellent.
And I might stop in the middle when I start to
enjoy it too much.
That's excellent, Bertrand. Thanks very much. Brilliant. I love the cello. Absolutely love it.
The music just bounced all around the room and just filled the whole room up. It was beautiful. It was really good.
The music is beautiful. I don't know about what
the music is beautiful and the playing was exquisite.
It's unbelievable.
And I must applaud your idea, Sheena, of bringing in Bertrand as well. It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, well, I personally, it's a selfish thing, you know. It's just obsessed with cello, you know, and I think it's class. And then to have a maker who's making and playing, you know.
Yeah, very fortunate.
Yeah. But can I ask you a question? You know, what do you think is important in making and producing your beautiful instrument? Have you set ideas of
what it means to me,
or how, what do you aim to do to produce the best instrument? Obviously, you're looking for the best grades of woods and so on. But your input, whatever you put into it, what would you say?
It's a mixture of controlling shapes and getting to get the best understanding of the material you use, so the wood can be different qualities. Sometimes it might be a bit stiff, sometimes a bit more heavy or light or supple, so you have to make up for all those characteristics and then adapt to it, which is why hand making can't be really replaced that way. And you adapt to the wood, and then it's really following my inspiration. If I do an instrument for myself, at least with no particular person in mind, then I will explore my own set of experimenting. Like I will try high arching or different type of models or different lengths of instruments or this kind of things, and I aim at different sound. You always the main guide for an instrument is having a sound in mind, and try to get all the different steps going towards that goal.
You wouldn't have this. You would, when you're manufacturing the instrument, you'd already have the idea of the type of sound that you want to achieve. Or would you work through it as the instrument is
well, I refine that. I can see the evolution in 15 years in Cork. I can really see that I started with violas, and it's big difficult thing about violas is to really make it sound deep when it's such a small instrument for what it's asked to do. And so I developed the bass side of it so much that now I find it really hard to make violins that don't sound like a viola. But what I realize is that what I aim for a violin might also benefit for a viola or a cello, because you want everything basically. You want the depth of the sound, but you also want the brightness of the sound. You want it to project, you want it to be able to do pianissimo as a fortissimo, you want it to have a whole range of color, or at least allow the musician to bring all those colors. And for that, it's a tool. The better the tool is, the more it allows you to do. So
is it always maple and spruce you use in the body?
Yeah, nearly always. I can use other wood for the back and the ribs sometimes, poplar or willow. They are softer wood, so they need to be used differently. But they're interesting too. But mainly maple and the belly spruce.
I remember reading it before that the dearest Stradivarius sold for the Japanese tsunami appeal for something like $15 million, was it? And they're always questioning about the quality of the Stradivarius. Why is it outstanding in itself and so on? But many experts arguing it and for and against. But I remember reading that there was a very particular extreme cold spell during the period that Stradivarius was building and making instruments that had a slow growth in the tree, which meant that the wood was dense. Do you think there's any truth in that?
Well, there's loads of things that are trying to explain why Stradivarius is so famous. But he was exceptional maker. But he had the same material than most of the guy at the same time. He was especially really, really skilled and made a really job that is a reference now. And also it was at the time that where basically the whole concept of the violin and the family of violin was pushed to its top.
Peak, yeah.
His peak. So I'd say nowadays, like there's a big in the last 20-30 years, there's a big massive improvement of the whole violin making world. Like and I think it's a lot to do with communication, which wasn't really traditional when I started learning. There was still most people would talk about secrets and the secrets is
the treasures.
Is about more or less disguising that your knowledge is very, very limited. But by accepting that your knowledge is very limited and sharing whatever you know and getting back other information from people, and the internet really, really helped.
Yeah.
And a lot of attitudes changed and towards the spreading and sharing of knowledge. And I'd say nowadays a lot of people, at least few people, are able to do the same, I would say really the same standard as those best instruments, except that they don't have the same age and the same history. So history makes a whole difference as well in the psyche of people, and the actual time also changes the structure of the wood, and changes the whole instrument, the tension and all that makes the instrument change a lot. So the evolution is we'll see what people think of those violin made now in 150 years.
Yeah, exactly. I think instrument making is a noble profession. I really do.
Yes. I love the idea also of longevity. You see, you're not in this consumerism, at least for handmade instrument, because those instruments they'll be still around, hopefully in a few hundred years.
Yeah,
that's what I love about the concept.
With the idea brilliant. Of sharing the knowledge as well, it's a really good idea, though, that people are starting to not be afraid of that now. Okay, you still have to go out and manufacture the instrument anyway, and you can only gain by it by learning from somebody else as well. So it has to be, you would imagine, if it ages, after the 150 years, that you'll have that plus the experience of the communication that people have as well. So I think it's a great way of making instruments that you can just put the best into them. Rather than just having your own standard style.
Well, I admit that your experience is not enough to improve. Like you need it's time. Experience is time. So if you take the experience of hundreds of people, you get further, and you might refine a lot further your own experiment. So
Are you playing with a band these days, Bertrand? Did you play with Interference?
Not recently, but it's still
happening.
It's still my band for the last 10 years.
Fantastic.
I just was recording a little bit for Roy Harper last Monday. I'm going to work a bit more on that. I haven't been doing that much. I had a lot of music from like 2005 to 2008 roughly.
But you're very busy now with your work and everything.
Well, I'm busy for other
reasons as well.
Busy with
all good
life.
reasons. Yeah. Excellent. So, will you play another tune for us?
Yeah.
If you're okay with that. And Bertrand, thanks for coming in. You're very good to come in, and it's great to chat with you as always. But you can hang out with us afterwards here. But thanks very much.
Thank you. So I made up that one. I don't know how I start and how I finish, but
Bertrand. Bertrand Galen, thanks a million.
Well, yeah, but I messed it up.
We don't know.
Okay,
it's okay.
We wouldn't have noticed. That was brilliant. And I can assure the listeners that was only one person playing all that.
Yeah. I'm going to play a track from you now with John Spillane and Mick Flannery called Passage West.